Hey, welcome to another episode of Your Faith and Health Community. I'm your host, Pastor Jackie Jackson. And on behalf of myself and our producer, Anita Alexander, we want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us. Hopefully, we'll give you some information, have something to say that will improve your quality of life. You know, I always start out the show talking about health care, talking about getting health insurance. I should say that instead of health care, about health insurance. You know that the marketplace is closed. For Medicaid, I always tell you that is year-round open enrollment. So if you need health care and you're single and your income falls under $16,243, anywhere below that, if you are a family of four and your income falls below $44,500 and something dollars, somewhere around there, then that makes your whole family eligible for Medicaid. But if you need marketplace insurance and you've had a life-changing event recently, in other words, you recently got married, got divorced, had a baby, started a new job, lost your job, just moved into the state of Ohio, and if you have, welcome to Ohio, the Buckeye State, the home of the Bengals. Well, that's Cincinnati, but it's still the same. Or you're recently re-entering into society from jail. Let's just say jail. And you need to get health care insurance, and you qualify for Marketplace, then you have 60 days. That's only 60 days from your life-changing event to get enrolled in health care. So let's stay healthy, guys. Let's get out there. Let's go get the colonoscopies. Let's go get the mammograms. Let's go get preventive care. And let me just say this, too, because a lot of people don't know this. Preventive care costs you nothing. That's covered under the Affordable Care Act. Preventative health care doesn't cost. You don't do a copay. You don't have cost, period. So if you haven't had any checkups lately, go get checked out. Let's be sure you're okay. The worst thing can happen is you wait and the doctor say, if you would have came last week. So let's get that taken care of. You know, if you were with us last week, you know that we have Alicia Torres, who is the internet gospel radio sensation. And we have Christiana.
Christiana.
I said, what did I say?
Christiana.
Christiana. We have Christiana Tate, who has beautifully made creations, which is a makeup company that she's had that's been around for about a year now, right? So listen, you get ready to get married, and what is this, March? So we're headed into April and May and June. We're going into the wedding months, and you're looking for somebody to come out. I understand this young lady went all the way down to
Savannah,
Georgia to do someone's, was it a wedding?
It was a wedding.
To do someone's wedding. So look, you've got her right here in the city. It's an opportunity to get her, grab her, let her come out, get you ready. So when you walk down the aisle, he's like, oh my God, there's my baby, right? So give her a call. And they're laughing at me. Right? So, Alicia, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. Tell us about the radio station. I mean, I keep calling it a radio station. That must be something that is just prophetically coming out of my mouth. Or I'm not going to say I'm prophesying, but maybe there's going to be a KS Kingdom Supporter radio station in your future.
Well, I know that it's a radio show and I know that it's online, but with the network that I have, the Unified Reach Network, we run it like a station. The only thing we're lacking is sponsorships. So everything that we do independently, it comes out of our pockets. Whether if it's trying to find a guest, booking a guest, buying the music to play on the station, because the last thing we want to do is be sued by Lecrae or Ty Tribbett from playing their music. But we don't get paid to play the music. We just support. We interview different people, independent artists, authors, cooks, chefs, recent graduates from across the board. You name the person, we're interviewing them.
But you do know I'm not a cook, right? Because you looked at me and you said cook, as if I'm Chef Tell. And so don't call me to cook anything for you, because it's not going to work out too well. I mean, I can cook, but I'm not the cook. So you mentioned Ty Tribbett and such. Have you had the opportunity to interview any of the national award-winning gospel artists yet?
Not yet. Now, have I interviewed? Okay, so say Cincinnati had an award show for Christian hip hop artists, and maybe Iceberg won an award. I have interviewed those type of people, but nobody nationally known. Not yet.
Not yet. I'm
One
glad
day in
you
the
said
future,
yet.
but not yet.
Okay. So, do you do remotes?
Not yet.
Hey, that's
I would like to once I get, I guess, a digital camera and I can record something. And don't get me wrong, I know social media, Instagram and Facebook, they both have the feature where you can go live, but I haven't done that yet.
okay. So we can look forward to seeing that happen sometime soon.
Hope, yes, definitely. My man Al Chain just set up a studio in not too far from here, actually. But I plan on doing Cincinnati guests or Dayton or Northern Kentucky guests in studio with the headphones, just like a real radio station would. And for all the other guests and people who I'm interviewing over the phone, will be just the call-in number. So my plan is to do 2 different avenues under the same name.
Okay. All right. Beautifully
Made
made
creations. With a Z, not a S.
Oh, with a Z.
With a Z,
You didn't,
not an
did you
S.
tell us that the
I
last
don't
time?
believe I did.
All right. So tell us about your company.
Okay, Beautifully Made Creations. It's relatively new-ish. I've been doing it for about a year now. I do from weddings to school dances. I actually did some school dance makeup over the past weekend for a local high school, Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy. I did a few of the girls for their school. I'm also doing some makeup for their production of Joseph and the Technicolor Coat over this weekend. I am doing some stage makeup for some of the girls in the show. I do so weddings, school dances, date nights, anything you can think of, I can do it. I arch eyebrows. I'm still working on getting the lash thing down. Lashes are a little bit harder to figure out.
Do you arch men's eyebrows as well?
I do arch men's eyebrows as well. Mr. Alicio Torres over there, I
Oh.
have braved that he's not a very good client. He doesn't like to sit still. He gets very upset with me when I try. But when it's done, it looks really good. He just doesn't particularly enjoy it.
Oh.
It hurts a lot. For the men out there, you got a woman who wants to see you all spiced up and looking good, and your eyebrows is an issue. You think really hard about that, because it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt for some days.
It's not
Is
that
it that bad? Is
It's
it that
not
bad?
that
No,
bad.
it's going to hold for about 30 minutes after it's all finished with. But it's going to look good. But if your eyebrows grow like mine's, yeah.
Which reminds me, I think I need to do your
Mine's
eyebrows
grow back
this
really
weekend.
fast.
And so when you're done, then people are like, maybe he's born with it. Okay.
No.
Maybe he's born with them. Yeah, no.
I can't say
It's Maybelline. Y'all funny.
So,
I watch too much TV.
what? And I know I asked you this last week, and we can always get a little bit deeper. Well, no, let me ask you this. You mentioned something about your brother's school.
Yes.
And so you're not mentoring. What are you doing there?
I am interning at his high school, Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, for their Joseph Technicolor Coat. I am in my final semester at Cincinnati State. There we go, I'm sorry. And as a part of my last little hoorah, I have to do a co-op. And so I decided to intern for the theater program because I'm thinking about going into theater as a profession.
And so what are you doing? So as the intern, what are you doing?
I do costumes, I do makeup, and I help with sound and producing and all that stuff.
Okay, so in the Technicolor Coat, that's what? That's a 70s? I think that was a 70s Broadway piece.
It's actually the way she spun it. The director, Susan Jung, she's a very creative individual, and to work under her is absolutely incredible. She's picked different pieces from different eras to mesh inside of the show. So we have like a disco scene. We have like a Hawaiian scene, a French scene. It's just something of everything thrown into the show.
Just got like a potluck.
Basically, it's just a big old
We'll
potluck.
call it show luck. When
Show
you come, it's like you don't know what's gonna.
You don't know what you're
what's
gonna see.
be
You don't
in
know
it.
what you're gonna see.
And that's also. So, what made you decide theater? Well, I mean, I know you do theater.
Yes, I do. I love the theater. I love acting and portraying someone different than yourself. It's actually quite entertaining. And so I hope to be, I haven't decided between solely actress or director, but I know I want to be a theatrical teacher in a school.
Okay, that's awesome. I like that. I like theater. There's something about theater. I like to see it every now and then and kind of go. And one day I'll even do it.
One day you'll even do it.
So, Alicia, what's coming up? I know you mentioned eventually a station here, but right in the future, what's the big thing that you're getting ready to do with your show?
Well, different guests. Like I said, the Friday night takeover is something new. It's at different times depending on if I have a guest versus the time frame. But other than that, outside of the show, May 5th is a Saturday. I will be hosting the annual God's Marketplace. I believe this is year number 2. And I'm going to have a lot of local talent, even outside of Ohio talent, come and minister throughout the segment, throughout the marketplace.
And where's this?
It's going to be at the North Avondale Recreation Center. If I read the email correctly, I just got it this morning. I just glanced at it, but I believe I did see North Avondale Recreation Center from 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. And then after that, in June, I've been invited to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to be a guest speaker. So I'm excited to not only talk about Jesus on the air or on the KS Radio Show, but also give the youth an encouraging message about Jesus, about being unashamed for Jesus, about loving Jesus, about strengthening your relationship with Jesus. So that's all I have coming up with so far.
And so for the two of you, what is it? You know, I'm a little bit older. I like to say a little bit older. I'm actually a lot older than you guys, right? But in your age range, 'cause I know often, I'll tell people this in a minute, I would not want to be 15, 16 into my early 20s in this age. I'm kind of fond of my era because right now it's really a crazy time. You know, in my era, the worst I went home with or somebody went home with was a black eye or a busted lip if it got I mean seriously, if it got crazy. You know, teenagers today, you know, the young kid at Purcell Marion that went to Purcell Marion, the 17-year-old that was shot out in Evanston. They're having his visitation tomorrow, and allegedly was shot and killed allegedly by a 16-year-old. And so I say, you know, for me, at this time and age, this is not a time I would want to be a young person. I'm happy being in my 50s, you know, because at least my circle of people are a lot different, or for the most part, put it that way. Or, you know, I could be in some crazy thing, but God, you know, to God be the glory, I'm not. But what is it like being young and living for God, being in the kingdom? So not just being young, but trying to take this walk that's difficult enough by itself. But now that you're young, you're being progressive, you're reaching out. What is that walk like?
It's difficult. I can definitely say it's difficult because it's not, I wouldn't say, the popular thing right now. A walk with Christ is not something that you hear a lot about for most of our people in this age bracket. People are still trying to keep up with friends, trying to be in the world, trying to experience life. And so you say, hey, I love the Lord and this is what I'm doing for Christ. They're looking at you like, what? You love God? How old are you? And you're just kind of like, I'm not that old, but just because I love God, there's nothing wrong with it and you don't have to be ashamed about it. And there's so much that feeling of being ashamed seems to be a thing in this generation, being ashamed of God and your relationship with God.
And I would guess in your case, being a PK,
Oh, Lordy.
being a preacher's kid,
Preacher's kid. Woo.
which must add some extra pressure
It-
within itself.
Oh, goodness.
But I know your mom and dad, so I know you come from a great family. And I've known you since you before adulthood, so I know you're an awesome young lady too. So what advice would you give to young ladies, let's say, 17, 18, 19 years old, trying to walk this walk as a Christian?
From personal experience, I spent a lot of my time running from my calling in the ministry because I wanted to fit in and not to be on the outskirts. Because being a preacher's kid, they're like, oh, you're the pastor's daughter. You can't do this and you can't go here with us because you're this and you're that. And it was very frustrating for me. But I realized that the more I tried to fit with the crowd, the more I stumbled, the more I fell on my face. And so if you are a young woman trying to start this walk with Christ, no matter how old you are, continue that walk, because trying to divert, it causes more problems down the line.
And what would you say to young men?
Well, in this generation, music is essential. Whether if you hear it on the radio or hear it walking down the street or hear it while riding in the car, the message in the music or in the lyrics are not promoting Christ or a Christ-like lifestyle. So you have to find what you're passionate about. If it's music, pursue it. If it's acting, pursue it. A lot of people say that in order to get somewhere in life, you have to center yourself around people that are doing the things that you want to do. Say, like, if you want to be a better pastor, you surround yourself around better pastors. If you want to be in music, then you surround yourself with artists or with someone dealing with music. If you want to be a filmmaker, you surround yourself around directors or producers who are making movies, being progressive in life, like you mentioned earlier. So if you find a passion and pursue it. If it keeps you up at night, then it's your passion. If you do it and it doesn't feel like a job, it feels like it's love, then pursue it. But whatever you do, pursue it. Do not fit into the crowd. Do not follow the crowd. Do not listen to the suggestions of your friends or the enemy, because all that matters at the end of the day is what you do for God. And what you do for God is what's going to last, because the earth is going to end. All the trends are going to end. The new Jordans is going to become something old. Driving a new car, being around this certain type of circle of friends is going to get old, because you have a dream. And if you have a dream, if you have a goal, pursue it.
So a joint question. You talked about what it's like to be a young lady and some advice to the younger girls in this Christian walk about young men. What is it like to be a couple in this walk? And we didn't mention this time, so we got to do the baby shout out.
Baby shout out, baby Tristan.
Our son Tristan is one, and like she said previously, that he is busy.
Busy.
But he's also such a joy to be around. Whether if it's a face that he makes, and he sticks out his tongue.
This is what his tongue it
He's
is.
been sticking out his tongue since he came out of the womb. And it's kind of like his signature face. Kind of like when you see a business, when you see Pepsi or Coca-Cola or McDonald's, you see their logo and you already know it's their business. So when you see his face, no matter what picture it's on, you know that it's Tristan. And he has a huge personality, whether if it's trying to stand by himself, pulling at one of our legs so that we can lift him up. But he is such a joy to be around. He is. But he's also busy.
Oh, goodness.
And busy's good. And I know, I if I think right, I saw on your Facebook page the birthday party or something.
It was either his or mine. I might have tagged him in it. I think it was on mine.
Well, I saw the birthday party, but I noticed you didn't bring any cake. And I know the birthday was a while ago, but you could have brought some birthday cake. But that's
Sorry.
neither here nor there. You forgot about
He
it. We're not
ate the
gonna-
rest
we're
of
not
it.
gonna talk about
He
that.
had it in his fridge for weeks. He ate all of it.
But again, what is it like being a couple in this Christian walk?
I'm gonna be honest. It's challenging. It's challenging, especially when I work 8-hour shift, and her job is typically in the evening, and of course with Tristan, she can't always get everything done before it's time to go to work. So with me coming in tired, or finally seeing her in the evening, me possibly being tired, being hungry, it's hard to greet her with love. Specifically, hey, how you doing? Or if there's anything I need to do, or if
Or greet her enthusiastically.
Right.
Not so much not with love, but because you're tired and low energy,
Yes.
it's kind of hard to have this big bubbly
yes,
greeting when you see each other.
right, hug, kiss, affection, all of that ties into it. So it's challenging, and sometimes she feels as if I'm not being affectionate, and it's not that. It's just that I'm exhausted from the weight of the world, from being at work, stressing about different things, but we make it work. And even on her end, when she's
But we'll let her talk about
okay,
her.
okay. Well, I'm done.
And I'm stopping you now, young brother. Let me just stop you real quick. I'm saving you. You just don't know it.
Oh, we. Definitely a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. Trying to balance ministry, work, school, relationship, son, all of it. And so when it comes to each other, it definitely has been a challenge, especially in the last year, trying to juggle the two of them to make sure that the tension is there, that we have that time together aside from just the baby. And then have that time with God that we need to stay balanced. It's just all about balance, and it's a struggle to make sure we maintain that balance.
And would you say that relationship with God, that prayer time, I would assume you guys pray together, right? And so that relationship with God, that being able to know him and being able to call would definitely be a part that's keeping you guys going. Because I would think whether if you're young in this walk or you're middle age or older in this walk, there's still two people blending together and trying to find that happy medium that keeps you going, and understanding that it's that relationship with God that gives you that push. It's that relationship with God because sometimes as people, there's an artist his name was Luther Vandross. I'm sure most of you guys have never heard of him.
I love Luther.
But Luther Vandross had a song and it said, sometimes love is wonderful, and sometimes it's only love. And that's a song, if I'm doing a premarital counseling session, I always use that song as an example, because sometimes love is wonderful and sometimes it's only love. But the love of Christ is just always fantastic, and if we can find a way to incorporate that into our relationships, even when we deal with life, because life happens.
Yeah.
You get tired, you work, you come home, you deal with the traffic, all of these different things. You got baby crying, you got all this stuff, but if we can find a way to cling to God, then that's what's going to hold us together as couples or in relationships in our life. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, I'm thankful for you guys coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing you grow. I'm looking forward to the radio show just blowing up. I'm waiting on you to have one of my favorite, either Fred Hammonds or Jason Nelson on the show. When you do it, you got to let me know. I just want to come and sit. I ain't going to say nothing. I just want to sit and watch. And I'm looking forward to your company blowing up, and we're going to talk about some things now that I know that you're doing. You got to let people know what you're doing. Let us know you're out here. Say, get on the mountaintop and scream, hey, I can do your makeup! So that they'll know. Right?
Right.
Right, okay. Hey, listen, we want to thank you for taking time out again. On behalf of myself and our producer, Anita Alexander, we want to thank you very much. Look, we're praying that God will pour prosperity over your life. We're praying for your health, for your job, for your family, listen, we're praying for the doors and the windows at your home, that no one would breach that and come in and cause you any harm or any loss. Stay faithful. Stay healthy.